Welcome back to the Coaching Lab podcast. I'm Lee Baker, your host for today's episode, where we are exploring a big and important question: what's next for coaching? As the fields of health, wellness, and well-being continue to evolve, so does the role of the coach. From healthcare systems to workplaces to broader population health, coaches are being called into more complex, dynamic environments than ever before. This episode isn't about predicting the future with certainty. It's about learning from someone who has helped shape the field itself. Our hope is that this conversation gives you a clearer sense of where coaching is headed, where the opportunities are, and how you can continue to grow your skills and impact. We also want to take a moment to share an opportunity for you to invest in your own growth. This September 25th through 27th, we're hosting our 8th annual coaching retreat and symposium in Estes Park, Colorado, a weekend designed specifically for coaches who want deeper connection, meaningful development, and a space to focus on their own well-being. You can learn more at Catalyst Coaching Institute website. For today's conversation, I'm joined by Margaret Moore and Brad Cooper. Margaret is a pioneer in the field of coaching with decades of experience at the intersection of behavior change, health, and human development. Margaret brings a unique perspective on how coaching can evolve to meet the needs of individuals and systems alike. In this episode, we'll explore where the greatest opportunities exist for coaches today, the skills that will matter most moving forward, and how coaching can continue to play a meaningful role in improving health and well-being at scale. If you're a coach or aspiring coach looking to grow your impact and stay ahead of where the field is going, you're in the right place. Margaret, thanks so much for being here. Although those listening may know who you are and the impact you've made in the coaching industry, there are some who may not be as familiar with your work. You started your career in biotech before entering and being one of the pioneers in the coaching industry. What inspired you to shift into coaching?
Great question. Right. So I'm a biologist with an MBA. I like being at the beginning of things. And so I chose biotechnology as I was doing my MBA in my early 20s. And so that was in the early 80s. It's a while ago, at the beginning of biotech. And so I love being a part of building something. And 17 years later, having worked in 4 countries and taken a vaccine through market launch in Germany and gotten a clinical approval for a trial for a cancer drug. I'd done a lot of different things, running R&D teams, et I could see from looking around me, all my physician science colleagues weren't healthy. They, and I was like a self-regulator in my teens. The first time I gained weight was when I was 15, 16, and I lost it and I never regained it. It was so hard. So I had figured out a long time ago how to manage myself, get enough sleep, manage stress. I'm surrounded in this world of really smart people and they don't know how to do it. And I think, gosh, we need to help people take care of themselves. It's great to have all these new drugs. I could spend the rest of my career in the business of developing new medicines, which I enjoyed, but I thought we need a profession that knows how to support people to set their own goals and get on top of their health and well-being. And back then, I didn't know any coaches and I didn't know anybody in the wellness. I was in biotech. we're talking about cancer and, immune disorders and all kinds, science. My take on it, I was like a master of project management, like whether it was 20 scientists from 4 countries or, whatever, like just orchestrating things. And I thought that's the missing structure. People don't have any structure in their lives to manage their health. And so that was the birth of Wellcoaches, which was to create, in fact, we filed a patent application on web-supported health coaching in 1999, which issued in 2008. Didn't go anywhere for many reasons, but my husband had the idea that one-on-one coaching could happen on the web. And back in 1999, that was not on the radar. The web was for reaching many, not for one-on-one. There were no bank accounts online. There was nothing. So we envisioned the coach, but also using tech from the beginning. We had a tech platform in 2001 with video conferencing at Microsoft. I can't remember what it was called. So I always saw that there needed to be a profession and the tech needed to make it scalable. But when I started, I gathered a small team. I knocked on doors. I found, Michael O'Donnell at American Journal of Health.
Yeah. Good friend of mine. We swim together.
Days, and I talked to the American College of Sports Medicine, and I was just fancy and talking. I had no website, nothing, and I convinced them that we could create this new profession. But when I got into it, I realized that, I read the Coactive Coaching book, and I read what was out there in 2000. None of it had any science attached to it. And I thought, this is never going to play in healthcare without a scientific basis. And I wasn't afraid of reading scientific papers, because I'd been working, leading scientists, sitting at dinner with Nobel Prize winners. Like, I wasn't afraid to dive in. So the first 8 years of Wellcoaches, as we started to train coaches, was to assemble a protocol that was science-based, which is the Coaching Psychology Manual now, which we're working on the 3rd edition. So it was this vision that we needed the profession in healthcare that was the person that helped make health and well-being a project, and that we would then support people to take care of themselves and not just rely on drugs. So that's the story.
I love that story. I'm guessing it's the story of so many of our listeners. I mean, as you were saying, my undergrad's in biology. I got an MBA at the same time. I ended up going to physical therapy school, and I had the same look around the room as you did and said, wait a minute, we're physical therapists, and yet we're unhealthy physical therapists. And so that's fascinating. I think that's really helpful for our listeners, because so many of them came from not the same thing that you and I did, but so much intertwining in that story. So thanks for putting on the...
Yeah, we're not alone. There's a lot of us biologists that see that the psychology and the biology go together, and that we really, it seems so obvious now. Like, it's,
sure.
That's what's so
always does
interesting, is because it wasn't obvious back then. I remember so I tried to raise venture capital. I got stopped by the .com bust. And then 9/11, I said, okay, we have to figure this out, how we can make it self-funding. And that's why we started a school. Yeah. Because I had good advice from a collaborator, which is, look, you can make business out of a school. Selling coaching services is harder because you have to have more capital. So that's how we became a school, out of necessity. Wow. But it was also because there wasn't a school that taught coaching the way it needed to be done. And so, so we launched with the ACSM partnership. ACE turned us down as a partner. As did the American Dietetic Association turned us down. So ACS, I knew that from my biotech days, you had to have the good housekeeping seal of approval from some big entities, because you're the small biotech company on a big C. And so you put advisory boards together and, et cetera. And so I did convince the American College of Sports Medicine, which was, and you'll get this, Brad, because ACSM is full of exercise physiologists, and they're less clinical, they're less problem focused than nurses and social workers. Right. And they have an upbeat, exercise is upbeat, it's energizing. And so I thought from the beginning that exercise physiologists would be among, the best candidates to become coaches. So we launched with ACSM at our side. And to this day, we're still part of the ACSM family.
That's so interesting. I love that.
So it sounds like, Margaret, that you saw a gap within the people that were around you, and a need for structure in making healthy habits, and an evidence-based approach to be able to scale that at a population level. And then came Wellcoaches and school and evidence-based practice into how we then work with individuals to provide this science and evidence-based process. Looking back over your career, what surprised you most about the evolution from when you first started to kind of where we are now in the industry?
I mean, I'm still an entrepreneur, and this is really slow. I feel like I'm still, and you probably feel the same way, Lee and Brad. I feel like I'm still in startup mode.
Every day.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Always. I don't think, I really do feel as though I have to stay in startup mode, because we're not mature, we're not grown up yet. We still haven't been let into the gates, the healthcare gates. So I think just, how much effort. So I co-founded 2 other coaching organizations to contribute to this agenda. And, the Harvard Medical School Coaching and Leadership and Healthcare Conference, which is in its 16th conference this in May. All of those things, books, everything. I guess I didn't really know how far I would get on one hand, like I would be where I am right now. And I didn't know that it would make me a leader, and I didn't know how long it would take. Like I really didn't know I'd be in year 26, and we're talking about as if it was yesterday at the beginning. So, I've done a hard thing. I mean, I'm really aware of that. It's a hard thing to do, to start a profession. You guys are part of it too. This is hard. This is not easy. This is not.
Amen, sister.
Not hard. This is you do it not because of the money. Believe me, there's lots of ways to make more money faster. We still don't really have a population in the world that is running to make transformational change to their lifestyles.
For sure, which is fascinating.
They are not lined up out the front door. They're all saying maybe, maybe not. Maybe I can just get away without doing anything more. Maybe I can just take the GLP-1s. So we're selling growth and wisdom and transformation to a group that wants to go to personal training and get dietary advice and try new recipes. But we still have it's changing slowly, but we don't necessarily have a population that's ready for the change that we know how to deliver. And one thing we know, not so much from health and wellness coaching, but the leadership literature and the literature on therapy shows that the number one variable driving positive outcomes is the client. Their readiness, their resilience, their ability to change. Not us. We don't turn them into,
of course,
transformational beings. So the bigger challenge we have is making it more appealing. I was just sitting with my family very long ago having dinner, and I was talking about this new AI coach assistant I'm launching, and they basically said people don't change. And I thought, I can't believe this. This is my own family.
Well, and
they don't think I'm wasting my time. They think it's not like, why are you doing this? Not really. Nobody wants what you've got.
we're trying to sell a transformational process to a transactional world. And that's where the real challenge is once people connect with that coach, it is transformational, but the world is looking for a transaction. Quick follow-up on the entrepreneurial thing, because we've got a lot of folks listening that they're trying to run their own business, and they're hearing you and they're like, oh man, she's amazing and she's done all this stuff. And how does that, I love how you said, I'm still an entrepreneur. I get out of bed every morning with that entrepreneurial hat on, and that is what launches me through my day and helps me hit my head on the pillow exhausted from an awesome day every day. Talk us through that. How does that mindset, and I think for some people they're going to say, oh, well, she's got all the advantages. I think it's harder for someone like you because you've been successful. You don't have to do this anymore. This is your option completely now. So how do you continue to keep that entrepreneurial mindset every single day that makes you get up and do the things that you're doing and change the world the way that you're changing it over and over and over?
Yeah. In the structure of the mind, there's a part of us that is the entrepreneur, the adventurer, that wants novelty, that wants to break things, that wants to disrupt things, send chemicals. I don't have that for jumping out of planes or scuba diving. Like that's not where my place of adventure is at all. I like to hike mountains, but going up the side of the rock cliff.
Sure.
No.
I'm right with you.
So I have my places where I'm not adventurous, for sure. So I just want to say that, like, we all are adventurous in different ways. Gosh, it's a fire inside. It's really, I'm wired to see this through. I'm committed. I'm a builder, actually. When I finished business school, a lot of my colleagues went into investment banking and, McKinsey consulting and
Sure.
stuff like that. It's all project based. And I didn't want to do that. I need to build, but I need to build in a way that's entrepreneurial too. So I think it's part of my, structure. I don't know where it comes from. It's a fire, but it definitely, I am not a salesperson. Like, I hate selling. I hate it.
I think that's true of everyone in this profession.
I hate having to sell things, but I love to talk about things that I think are important to people and like this. And so then I can be a salesperson indirectly. Yeah. So I believe in what we're doing as rooted as a person can be to the importance of what we're offering. People need more consciousness and they need more maturity. They need to grow up. They need to start acting like grown-ups. They need to, take responsibility for ego noise, turn it into strength, get healthy, help others get healthy. There is only one purpose, really, at work, which is to improve human well-being. There is no other purpose. Whether you're making bicycles, delivering the mail, running a nuclear reactor, what else are we doing but promoting human well-being and prosperity? There is no other purpose. There is no other purpose. So you might as well just get on that bike and help. And that makes you feel good. It's purpose, it's meaning, it's connection with people, it's inventing yourself. You hit a wall, you have to get better, get stronger. So I think, it's easy to be an entrepreneur when you really care about what you're doing.
One more.
That's really, don't you think? I mean, you just aren't going to be an entrepreneur for anything. It's got to be, in business school, I hated consumer product cases, toothpaste, Pringles, potato chips. I thought, I can't believe people are doing this. I can't do this. And I couldn't do that. But can I help people improve? Yeah. So you have to be passionate about it. And then I think if you know self-determination theory, and we just lost at DC, Rich Ryan is still going strong, but the whole idea is that we as organisms are designed to be curious and excited and enthusiastic like children, learning and growing. That's our natural order, like a flower coming up. That's who we are. We've just ground it down and lost it, but that's who we are. So it's not unnatural. It's not unnatural at all. It's actually natural, but we have to get back to that natural state of joy and, love of learning and growth and curiosity, wherever that takes you, whatever your interest is. Because it might be scuba diving and rock climbing and jumping out of planes. I'm all for that for other people.
I love that. And Lee, let me ask one more follow-up and then I'll get out of your way here because Lee's done a great job prepping for this and I keep stepping on her toes. The dead ends, the time you've been doing this, you and I have both been doing this a really long time, but you've been doing it a little bit longer than I have. And what do you do with those felt dead ends? Obviously they weren't, and at the time they're probably not. But again, for the listener who's saying, I've been trying to do this, I feel like I keep running up against a wall and banging my head. What advice would you have for that person based on, sure, as successful as you've been, surely you've had times you felt like, is this worth it? I just can't push through. Could you talk our listeners who are in that place in their life through some of the things that you've done in your own head, in your own life during those phases?
Yeah, lots of them. So it's normal. But the lesson of it over time, if you're a good person doing good work and there's value in what you have, and you believe it and you see it and others don't see it and you get hit, they close the door on you. I remember sitting in front of the AMA CPT panel, the American Medical Association, there are 20 doctors glaring at us. You think coaching is healthcare? Really? You really think you don't prescribe anything? You don't diagnose anything? What are you talking? They were patronizing. And but I heard a voice. I remember sitting there thinking, somebody's on our side somewhere. That kept coming through my voice. And it turned out that was probably what led the CMS to put the codes on the Medicare telehealth. We thought they were dead. And then 3 months later, they were back. Barely. So when you hit the worst moments, it is just part of the journey to where you're going. You can't take shortcuts. So when it's bad, when it's a bad day, yeah, self-compassion. Like, okay, this sucks. A few tears maybe even. Like, I can't believe I worked this hard. And it was such a good cause and did such good work. And this is the state of the world. So you're entirely entitled. The legitimate response is to be down and to feel like the universe is against you. Yeah, like that you're basically pushing up a hill that you can't get up. But if you're doing, and sometimes the right thing to do is to quit. I don't want everybody to think that like you just push through and you always get there. That's not the case. But if you have if you know where you want to go, you don't have the map yet, and you do the right things and you bring the right people together and you do it right, like every moment you make the right step. You make mistakes, but not small ones, not enough to knock you out of the game. And you see that landmines are out there. So you have to avoid the landmines, but you definitely get hit from the, and the only way forward, and this comes back to selling transformation, is to realize that you have to go through the tough moments to get the strength to do what you need to do. So it's like, in England, they call it grist for the mill. Like if you put wheat into a mill to grind it into flour, all the rough stuff is called the grist, and out comes this nice fine powder. So you have to take the roughness that you deal with and turn it into something beautiful. So as long as even though you don't feel it in the moment, it's like post-traumatic growth. Like you don't see the growth when you're in the trauma. These are little traumas, but it's a similar process. So the best thing you can do is get as quickly as you can into the mindset that this is going to serve me. I can't see it now because I am not grown to that place where I'm going to get to. But you have to trust that the adversity is actually giving you what you need. Remember that old Rolling Stones song? You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. Yep. That's it. It's like the secret to being an entrepreneur.
I would say, I think similarly sometimes in the health coaching industry that like weeks you'll wake up and you're like, what in the world are we doing? And then other weeks you wake up and you're like, okay, there's opportunity. I'm feeling driven. I have a purpose. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm curious what opportunities that you see for, coaches, maybe in the entrepreneurial space or in maybe wanting to work with healthcare or within a workplace or population level health in general. Opportunities, I think, in the health coaching industry drive us forward and help us feel aligned with a purpose and a vision towards success and change. What do you think those opportunities?
Well, I do think we need to step into the conversation about AI if you're open for that now, or do you want to park that a bit?
Let's nudge it just a touch because we really want to focus in on that, but we want to set that stage.
So the answer to that is you have to go find folks that get coaching, and they're there. Like we at Wellcoaches have trained, in the order of 400 physicians as coaches over the years, and more now, like teams of 6 and 8 from UCSF and growing group from Mass General Brigham. We're probably well over 50, and as those physicians learn how to coach, and they get it and they like it, like not all of them,
sure.
Then they actually get coaching, and then they're interested in hiring. So there's still an awful lot of people, I'm sure you see this even now, that don't understand the presence of the coaching dynamic and what it does to shift your whole, it delivers neuroplasticity. There's a study on that. You probably have seen me. I wrote about it at the Institute, about how insight generation is likely when neural networks connect, and there's a biological phenomenon and it can be measured. And so we're the purveyors of neuroplasticity, speeding it up, making it more consistent, making it go further than what you can do with your own brain. It's really hard to make your own brain change. You can, but it's not that easy. So when people get it, so I would go find the people who get it That's where the opportunities are right now, because otherwise they're going to diminish you. They're going to put you in a hole. They're going to make you do things that aren't coach-like. They're going to downplay what you do because they want us, if they could have their way, there's a whole lot of technologists that would love to just not add another workforce and take the human out of the equation because it's cheaper and it's scalable. So we're up against the folks who don't get it. So the right place is the folks that do get it. And so that you're in a home where people respect what you're doing. So that would be my simplest recommendation. Don't push up a hill.
Who do you think are the folks that get it right now?
Well, at Wellcoaches, we have like 100 corporate accounts. So like Premise and, lots of big healthcare systems. I would look at the systems that are publishing papers. Those are folks who've supported their staff to be researchers and to study coaching. And there's a lot of them. And talk to them. Like I wrote Peter Kaczmarczyk, whose study was published in New England Journal of Medicine. It's one of the big ones in coaching in Louisiana, in rural Black communities, with primary care. And I was asking him about the dose response, that he reported in his paper. And I like to just reach out to the researchers because they, nobody does, right?
Exactly.
They've done all this work. And, and I could tell, like, he's like cheering us on, like, thank you for letting me know that this is what you're doing. And so he's a supporter. But is he standing on a mountaintop? No. So I would go to the literature. I would just, read online, find the folks who are speaking up about wherever there's ICF coaches and executive coaches, you're going to have a better reception. So wherever coaches are already respected, and people are already working with coaches. We have a job board at Wellcoaches. You probably have one. NBHWC does. They're posting all the time. Look at those organizations. They're obviously, if they're hiring, then look for, the folks that are interested. The job descriptions sound like they're real coaching and not health education, following a script or a protocol. So, yes, so there are jobs opening up all the time. But there is not, I wouldn't even, maybe you guys could guess what proportion of the folks that could hire coaches really understand it. I don't know, 1 in 5, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, that's an exaggeration. Yeah.
So it's interesting because we know what we do, but we're back to like, what are we selling and what do people want? And those lines are going to cross. They're crossing, like, for sure. Doctors tell me that people that never came and asked for help with changing their lifestyles, like the whole lifestyle medicine movement, what American College of Lifestyle Medicine, that's a home where coaches are welcome. That's a good place to hang out, be part of the discussion group, join, go to the conference, get involved. So yeah, find the folks that are already respecting of coaching.
Yeah, I like that kind of follow the trail of what's going well in the field. I also think about, the coach who maybe is barking up the tree in their town of like the PT practice or the concierge-based care, and they are trying to kind of establish those relationships or that rapport and educate on what health coaching is and how it can fit into that model. What advice would you have for those folks who maybe have a little more resistance, right? Maybe they don't get it yet.
Yeah.
But they're still have
or
that
they
drive.
think they already do it.
Yeah,
see that all the time.
Well, they diminish it.
Right.
They make it small either way. They because they're it's part of making their profession look like they're already coaches, and so therefore it just didn't invent very much. I think, I think I would, in those settings, what I see people doing is starting coaching groups with people, not the clinicians. Doing things in the community and having people curious, so you're coaching all the time. You have a conversation, you move into coaching conversation. So I would say the better way to go is to build your own thing. The other thing that works is that you've got another skill set. So you teach yoga classes, you teach mindfulness classes, you teach, some kind of usually in the physical activity space. But you do something that combines movement. There was an article I just saw on nature-based coaching where coaches go walking with with people. So I would do things like that, like make it creative, do what people aren't doing. Don't just become another clinician. But create groups, find, I remember, this is therapy, but I remember, I don't remember where I saw it, but there was a woman, a Black woman therapist who was trying to engage Black men in therapy, and they don't. And so she created a free group, bringing these guys together, and they almost all signed up for therapy at the end of it. Like they finally got what it was. So she just invited them in and said, so some coaches are great at whether teaching cooking classes. Culinary coaching is coming on board. The culinary medicine field is coalescing into a real discipline. So I would bundle it with another service, rather than trying to sell it purely on its own. And again, mindfulness is good. Cooking, you don't want to interfere with it. You don't want to walk over the scope of practice line with dietitians. So you have to really stay on that. You don't really want to get into nutrition, but cooking, being a chef, being a cook, coaches are getting chef training, coaches are getting mindfulness training. So I would, I think most of us who are successful have a combination of things. We have another skill set too that we bring. So those are some ideas.
That's good.
Yeah. We touched a little bit on healthcare earlier, and I'd like to circle back to that a little bit, because I do think that in the coaching world, people are wondering, do we fit into healthcare? How does that look? And you brought up, we don't want to become a clinician of sorts.
Yeah.
At the same time, we do want to be invited into those rooms, and people do want to be part of someone's care team, right? And maybe be reimbursed for that. And that seems like a barrier sometimes. And you've been involved with the advocacy work around cost codes for health coaching reimbursement. What is the needle looking like in that arena?
Right. Well, there is a path right now that is legal and financially viable, which is Medicare created, and in some health plans, private health plans pay for it too. 10 years ago, created a whole program around chronic care management. So anybody that has 2 or more chronic conditions is eligible for up to an hour a month of support. And it's underutilized, and no one really knows how to be with people over time to go from point A to B. And it's really not a goal setting program. Okay. So that's sitting there under its potential, way under its potential. Almost no healthcare systems have implemented these codes. There's lots of reasons why, but in part, there's no workforce to do it. So that's our home. And if we didn't have the coaching CPT codes, that would be the main home forever. When we got the health and well-being coaching CPT codes from the VA, like that, Kavitha Reddy, in 2019, I was in the background on the phone in various moments in that process. And so those codes got launched, surprised everybody, largely because the VA wanted to roll out coaching, and they wanted a way to recognize the service and not use other codes. And so that set us on this path, which has been an up and down path. But we have a moment now where the tailwinds have come to help us. And whether they blow us across the finish line now or later, I don't know. But the forces are there. And so the reason that we can't, or healthcare systems are not dropping these chronic care management codes for clinical staff, which a coach is eligible to be at the discretion of the physician equivalent, is because nobody trusts that CMS will will audit later and say this coach isn't clinical staff, which is not going to happen. But they are risk averse. They're not entrepreneurial at all. So we actually have a path. Lee, we could all be out there today, an hour a month. You still have to ask a lot of clinical questions, like, did you fall last week, or last month? Have you been to the ER recently? There's a bunch of stuff you have to do, but That's doable. So we have these coaching codes. And so the perfect moment arrived with the new government, and Mehmet Oz, who I know, you may have come across him, who knows all about coaching and is, I've had no personal contact with him since his HHS appointment. He's unreachable now, but I know from before he was his father. I worked on a team with his father-in-law in 2009 on health coaching standards. So that's and so those of us who've been out in front of the policymakers for the last few years, we made multiple proposals to Oz to be there on his desk, and that helped likely to generate a request for information on health coaching and motivational interviewing last summer, which is a signal that they're planning to do something. To have it in these 3,000 pages of rules, several pages on coaching is like a breakthrough. So why is that the case? There's three things. One is this government believes in lifestyle change as a treatment for chronic disease. Not that the CMS doesn't, but the concern is that people won't engage. We're back to the people don't want
transaction. Yep.
But this group, Kennedy and Oz are saying lifestyle change is part of healthcare. It needs to be in there. So that's the first thing. And nobody's, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and that's why they got the $100 million Elevate program to fund studies of these complex lifestyle medicine interdisciplinary team-based interventions. So anyway, so you have the lifestyle change interest. And then, these words in the top three priorities are empower patients to achieve their health goals. Well, who's going to do that? Who asks, what are your health goals? So where we've gotten to in shaping the framework is that we've asked for the annual wellness visit and chronic care management, and preferably all provider visits. The patient is asked, what are your health goals? And those are documented in the patient's voice in the EMR. Okay, so that's step one. If you ask people what their health goals are, they're going to say, health goals? What kind of health goals? You want me to have health goals? What should I do? What should be help? So you can see that lots of different. Oh, I've got goals. I'm good. Here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that taking their words and turning it into policy was a first important step, and then the second step is to put the health and well-being coaching codes underneath chronic care management, because it's already a framework that's established. All they have to do is add coaching and motivational interviewing and patient goal setting to the service. Chronic care management includes those things. And then these new codes are coaching dedicated. So you have a full hour a month just to coach. You don't have to ask about blood pressure and weight and did you fall and, were you in the ER last month? So basically we've got a framework that delivers lifestyle change, because coaches are trained that in lifestyle medicine. And that's our sweet spot. We're not educators, but we can provide indirectly, make sure people get the right education. I mean, there's a lot of education going on in health coaching, actually, which is fine as long as we stay within our scope of practice. But and then we need obviously people need to better manage their chronic conditions, because they're all, if the GLP-1s hadn't come along, God knows where we'd be. So lifestyle change, better management of chronic diseases, basically living out the potential of chronic care management, and the patient goal setting are an opening that we address in one, 3 birds with 1 stone. And then the big question is, will it be cost effective? Because there will be an investment, even though it's an existing program. And so a number of us put together different cost effectiveness cases. So, if people need less medication. They avoid costly events. They're getting their biometrics in the right place, which is an investment that they want. CMS does care, not just about the money. They have a tight budget, so they do, but they want Medicare patients to be healthy. They genuinely care. So, the strongest argument we can make is that if people don't want to work on goals, they're not going to sign up to work with a coach, because we're not there for social support. We're there for goal achievement. And so in that, and the literature, there's a signal in the studies that shows that there's a dose response. So the more coaching you have, the further you get in terms of your outcomes. And in the VA data, when we looked at it, it's not published, but there was a cohort of people who just did 1 or 2 sessions, which meant, okay, this is not for me. And then another cohort that did the full complement of 12 sessions. So we have, that just shows you that the people who aren't ready to work on their goals don't want to turn up to a coaching session. They either stop going, they just back out, or quietly or not. So that means that if people stay with the coaches, that they are going to make progress. And that just doesn't end in 3 months. Chronic care management is year after year, so people can have touch points, kind of booster doses of coaching along the way, which is also in the studies, coaching going out 2-3 years at a reduced dose, maybe like 8 hours total first year and 2-3 hours from that point. So that's the framework that is in front of the policymakers. And we'll know whether it's in this year's rules and how much or how little. So we're at the place where we have the right strategy and the right tailwinds, and we'll see. Now, we've done good work, and now we need a little divine intervention. Is what we need.
It's go, 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 and then wait until the summer to figure out.
Right.
So and pray, say a little prayer, and tell coaches to hold on and
keep doing good work. Keep getting better.
Yeah. And that brings up another question we had around, as the field continues to evolve, what skills or competencies are going to be most critical or relevant for coaches to continue to stay, I would say, in the correct rooms within their own competencies and awareness around coaching. Yeah. What do you feel like is particularly relevant for them?
In terms of competencies?
Yeah, like skills and competencies. I think we've talked a lot about our relevance, right, in the health coaching field and what's happening and what we're waiting on.
It's results. Basically, if you just take an individual coaching session and then you look at a series of coaching sessions over time, what you're looking for as a coach, trainer, or mentor is that the client, patient, is really moving up in energy. I'm not sure about this, but I have a vision, but I'm ready, but and I get excited at the beginning, and then it's still hard. And the ability to help people keep that energy up, the motivation up, the self efficacy up to reach their goals and get over a hump or two, so that people think, oh, I can change. This is back to I can't change, therefore I'm not going to try. So it's really about helping people realize they can change. And that shows in they're reaching their goals, things happen, they go beyond what they decided they do. That's the end game. That your clients love you and they talk about what you do. They maybe not, because not everybody wants to share that actually happens more often than not. But the main thing is that they make breakthroughs they couldn't. And so that's why, you've got to be good at getting people up to the next orbital of belief in themselves. It really is a confidence game. If people want to be healthy, everybody does. Nobody wants to be unhealthy. The motivation, actually, I remember Barbara Fredrickson saying this long ago, the motivation goes to sleep when the confidence is not there. Resources, when the positive resources, she used that term. when the positive resources aren't there. So if you don't have the resources to change, the resilience, the, optimism, the hope, the efficacy, all those things that are now called well-being, all those well-being resources are what you need in order to change. And if you have enough of those, and so it's not just the change process, it's getting the resources. And so the motivation comes alive when you start to believe you can change. So it's really all about self-efficacy. I think I can, as opposed to I think I might. Maybe my coach can help me, but then, then if you don't get there, and none of us are successful with 100% of our clients. That's always going to be the case. But what I say at Wellcoaches, because we have a core program and an advanced professional coach training program, this is anecdotal from me, not it's because it's impossible to prove, but you can count on being successful, at least half the time coming out of the core program, the NBHWC level track. But our advanced training, which is another full year, which takes you into the ICF accredited territory, 150, 160 hours, those coaches can fly. They're effective. The best of us are effective probably 75, 80% of the time. So it does matter. The skills matter. They really matter. And the downside of having credentials is everybody thinks they're really great. And the truth is, a medical license doesn't make a great doctor. A nursing license doesn't make a great nurse. And so we have to have the credentials, but we also have to realize that it's really all about making good, big, great things happen. So hold yourself to a high bar. Yeah. Get really good at it.
I have one sidebar question before we dive into technology and coaching and some of the AI topics. Is how do you measure? Like, how does a coach measure success? Like you mentioned, imagine you're going to be successful part of the time, majority of the time with your clients, or you want to be abreast with your skills and continuing to grow with those. I do hear that coaches are sometimes like, I don't know if I'm being successful with my clients, or like, well, how do I measure success? So what would be?
Yeah, I mean, that feels so obvious to me. You see it in their faces. I mean, basically when clients are successful, they're saying, I'm successful. I just did it. I remember a SVP of research texting me when I was in California in Napa at the Healthy Kitchens conference one March, and he was 3 months in, and that morning his fasting glucose was in the normal range for the first time in 10 years. And he texted me, and that's success. And he did, he'd lost weight, he'd done the right things. And I just remember wow, he was so happy with himself. He actually felt like he had control of it. This is a smart man. He ran a big R&D department with hundreds of people that was very, very effective. So he was smart, but he wasn't doing what he needed to do. So yeah, the clients are smiling. They're actually really happy. They send you a testimonial. If that's not happening, then there's something you're not quite there. I have to say, if you don't know if you're being successful, that's a sign you probably need to push up your game.
Yeah. I think sometimes when coaches are working within healthcare industries, there is a focus on these biometrics, right? Like cholesterol or blood sugar or blood pressure, and these quantitative things. And I think, you bring up a point of, yes, there can be quantitative measures of success for someone's health, and also these qualitative measures of.
Yeah, and self-efficacy is pretty well established now, as the quality of life. Yeah. Right. But when people, the thing with success in healthcare and health and well-being is that people, again, the reason they don't want to change their lifestyles is because they think they're going to fail. And they may have good evidence for that because they might have tried and failed multiple times. And they feel as though they really do not have the buttons to push to change their health themselves. They feel like they're a passenger in their bodies, not the driver. And you're really moving them from being the passenger to the driver. Wow, I can not have that glass of white wine in the evening and my fasting glucose is in the normal range. I mean, that's not what this guy's story was, but just as an example.
Right.
Skip dessert, or I don't have the ice cream, or I did this breakfast and then at 11 o'clock in the morning, I didn't have brain fog. If I had the croissant, I did. If I didn't, I'm a driver and not a passenger.
My choices matter.
That I have actually control over this machine that I'm driving around. As soon as people start to feel that, the numbers matter for the healthcare for sure. I mean, one of the point I've been making in this policy part is that people need a well-being vision of what they want in their lives. And then the healthcare wants the numbers. Okay, so you have two masters. The doctor, the insurance, everybody wants the numbers. You want your well-being. Okay, so what's going to be the group of things that you're going to do that are going to satisfy both, right? Because you have to get your well-being out of it. And the healthcare system you need to be accountable for your blood pressure and keeping it, below X, Y, and Z. And so it's like you have these two masters to satisfy yourself, but then the art of this is designing that 4 or 5 behaviors that together meet both, that do both, and then you satisfy both groups. That's how I think about it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with coaching at work. Your boss and your organization is paying for your leadership coaching or your, management coaching, whatever coaching you're getting, business coaching, in order to get what they want. But you need to get what you want too, which they may not care about and they may not even notice. So it's always when someone else is sponsoring it, there's a dual agenda, there's dual masters. And so the coach has to help people respect that the doctor is being paid to get you healthy, to keep your numbers in these ranges, because those are predictors of what, exercising 100 minutes a week is going to reduce your dementia risk. What more? A lot. They want you to do it. And you're saying, well, but I want energy. And I want a spring in my step. And I want to be able to, kneel on the floor and play, what do I want? We want different things, right? We do, because we aren't great long-term planners. We don't see ourselves having dementia. We see ourselves tomorrow being able to, bounce around on a playground with kids. So, I think that we just got to be a little more strategic about how we help people get what they want while getting healthcare what they want, because they're paying. If they're paying, then you've got responsibility to. I think that's the missing piece in healthcare, is that we haven't made people accountable. We just know what they want.
Right.
They're not asked to commit to any goals. That's just not a good deal.
Especially when someone else is paying for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you give me? My GLP-1s, give me this. I want the antidepressants. I want this. Well, what are you going to do to help yourself? We've got ourselves into a situation where healthcare is being used to give people stuff that means that they don't have to actually work for it. Now, a lot of them have 2 jobs, lots of reasons why they have to take shortcuts.
Sure.
So I don't want to be overcritical. People have bad behaviors because it's helping them in some way. They're not bad per se. They're meeting a need. We need, as coaches, we know that there's always a good reason for the bad behavior that is serving them, and that we need to respect that and validate it, so that the shame and the blame stops, and they can go from there.
Goes back to the transactional versus transformational.
Exactly.
And instant gratification, because it feels like the battle's too far out to be able to have that empowerment, self-efficacy. Yeah. And so
it's real. It's real. This is not real.
Right.
I remember a dietitian saying to me once that she had a patient who just had a heart attack. And so she's a young dietitian, gives up her, her recipes and her nutrition plan. And he looks at her and he said, I would rather die than eat that.
That's a learning moment, right? Oh, man.
I would rather die than eat that. There's your...
Right. They've got to come together.
Yeah.
So shifting gears a little bit into technology, because we know that that's top of mind in our industry. Coaches are thinking about it. The world's thinking about this. Tools like digital platforms and AI are increasingly becoming part of coaching. So how can coaches use technology to enhance their work without losing that human connection and nuance that we see?
Yeah. Well, if you've been an AI user, it sounds like a drug user. If you've been
Well,
using AI, no, if you have been engaging AI as a thinking partner, particularly in the last, say, 6 months, because there was a real shift in the level of intelligence last summer, this fall, and then early this. There's been 3 big shifts. Not a lot. There's some announcements, but if you've been working with AI as a thinking partner, it is amazing as a thinking partner. It is amazing. So, and I've because AI has taught me how to train AI. I didn't go to school, I didn't take a course. I've become an AI vibe coder. And now I'm helping other people a lot with it. So it's possible for a coach to learn how to train AI, all of us, because we know how to coach. We can see where people's gaps are, and we can. So I think you want to be using AI in a way that's very helpful for you, that increases your own intelligence. And I use that word loosely. You just have a more complete understanding of what you're dealing with, and that that gets reflected in how you operate in the world. So AI is there's lots of, it's like the internet, right? There's social media, there's lots of good about it, and there's lots that's bad about it. This is no different. But the good, especially if you use it, judiciously, so you don't spend hours on it and use up a lot of tokens and electricity, it is amazing. And so it's really important to leverage its intelligence to improve yours. In my case, next week, it'll probably be next week, if not the week after, we're launching AI as a coach assistant. I've spent 6 months vibe coding a whole model of intelligence that it doesn't exist in AI, that I've been thinking about working on for a long time. And so creating a whole mind in AI that is that makes AI into the coach's coach. I mean, it can help everybody, but it is able to coach us coaches. And in a way, without paying thousands of dollars for mentor coaching and going to another course. And so my goal, my contribution right now is to create a system that helps coaches develop privately in conversations that are natural, that you can upload your transcript, get feedback. So where I'm going with that, it comes back to the question of skill, is that AI is very smart, and it will be an effective coach. Not like let's just be clear, AI does all the talking, so it's not coaching, right?
Right.
You put in a prompt, 20 words, 30 words, and you get back 3,000. So that's not the coaching ratio of listening and talking, right? Let's just be really clear. It's not coaching at all. It's not a natural conversation. Maybe they'll get it to a natural conversation, but I just can imagine the electricity use of actually having it completely embed a human kind of voice and presence. So it's not coaching. It's advising. It's a thinking partner. It's giving you ways to think about things, and then you keep going. And so we have the opportunity as coaches, if we are out in front of this, leading it, to use it to upgrade our own, what I'm called coaching intelligence, because there is no real definition for coaching intelligence, but we might as well name it, that coaches using AI are delivering coaching intelligence, and the AI has some of it, but it's really, we are the ones with the coaching intelligence. The AI is just, so let's use it to upgrade our coaching intelligence, so that we're the master of the AI source, so that our clients and patients, we can bring them into the AI system and say, use it for this, give them ways to have conversations between coaching sessions, so that their coaching intelligence or coachability goes up. So back to this transactional to transformational. If the AI can get people more further along and seeing, oh, I really can see things differently. My mind can change. I can wake up. I can I can turn this adversity into growth. Maybe I can. I think we have an opportunity to increase the coachability of everybody and our own intelligence. So in that sense, I mean, we know that we're never going to be at a place where every single person has a coach all the time, right? That's never going to happen. I mean, they barely see their doctor for an hour a year. So it's not like we're going to have 1 million coaches anytime in the future. So all AI is going to do is provide the coaching, the other, 24/7, so that when we step in, they already have thought through a lot and we can really leverage that and work from there. So I see this as an amazingly creative partnership between AI and coaching. And, there would be a lot of us, probably you too, creating modules to train AI to do, to do what we, the good thing about AI now is that it has been trained on all the coaching textbooks. By that, I mean, when the LLMs all went out to grab 2 million unauthorized book PDFs 5 years ago, our manual was part of, all my books were part of that, because now we're listed in the Anthropic database and we'll get paid a few grand per book for, what they should have done initially. So if you question it, it won't give you page numbers, but it knows the whole manual. I don't have to teach it the manual. I have to name it, but I don't have to teach it. So it already understands all the coaching concepts. It can do it better. It can list them and explain them better than any of us teachers can. So it's our friend, and we need to use it as that. And we need to, again, like being the passenger or the driver, we need to be in the driver's seat. We need to get ourselves into the driver's seat and start saying, "Oh no, AI is going to take my role, and AI is going to no. I'm going to be making AI help me and make me a better coach." So honestly, I've never been more excited, because I can talk to this AI and it coaches me and I have a blast. And I mean, I just laugh and say, I can't believe this. I taught it how to coach and it's coaching me. This is just the most fun I've had in a long time. That's how it is. You just have to, the brilliance of the people that created a simulation of the brain in a machine. Now we know language is math. And we're into language, not math, most of us coaches. We do language. We're taught to use metaphor. We're taught to use words very thoughtfully and very carefully. It's our medium. We can code it, we can shape it, we can get it to do what we want it to do. So, and I think we'll start to see more and more. Right. Most of what's been happening in the conversation about AI and coaching is just the general AI being used. But there's lots going on right now. I know my friends in this space, there's lots of people developing AI as a coach in different ways. They're all different apps. That's all going to coalesce in the next couple of years. You're going to start to see that come together. And then we as a community will have proper AI resources that will help us get better and help our clients be more coachable. And therefore, we have the opportunity to move more people from transactional to transformational. It's actually going to be the force that allows us to do that.
So you brought up a few. Yeah, you brought up a few things in regards to AI. So one is skill development is what I'm hearing. It's like helping you be a better coach because of maybe putting in your transcription of your notes or your session, and then it gives you feedback on maybe opportunities or areas for improvement. The other is a support for your clients or for patients to have that support maybe when they're not connecting one-on-one.
Yeah, they're having a challenge with their sleeping goal and they talk to AI about it, today.
Right. Could you walk through maybe a few practical ways of how that looks or what you've seen?
Yeah. So like what I do right now, I just had several coaching sessions this week. So I asked them if they can record on Zoom. Everybody's used to that now. So, you usually can do that. And they know it's not going anywhere. I don't even send them the recording. I just use it because the Zoom transcript is better than some of the other, the recording transcript is better than the Zoom verbatim. So you get the highest quality transcript you can, and you can throw that into our AI system, or you can throw it into a Claude, like a regular AI, but you need to put in there and also upload, a competency document, something a little more granular than ICF, but like, this is what I want you to measure me against. The national board's practical skill competency set, which is multiple pages that we developed a long time ago. That's a good one, a good example. Wellcoaches has a practical skills, you probably have one too. So maybe you allow your students and your graduates to have like a skills thing. And so then basically you just say to the AI, take this transcript and measure it against these skills. And then and then you will get that back. So that's good. So I summarize my coaching sessions and not every one. It depends. If it's like we're really into something that we both need to focus and not take notes and not keep a whiteboard going, then it's, time to record. And then I put it through the AI, and then I send that to the client. And I send the criticisms of not really, they're not phrases criticisms of my coaching, but things that we missed that they would be useful. So I don't hide the things that we didn't talk about, because I know there's only so much time. And so this just sometimes it validates things I wouldn't say, which is really good. It actually gives me a voice saying what I didn't necessarily want to say. Then the second thing is I'm still not that far with this, but to get my clients on it, to use it in between. And I've got one scientist who's finally using it after 8 or 9 months. It took a long time, because I could tell he was just interested in talking to me and didn't really want to go to the AI, but he's finally, so getting them to go and ask things, and then we talk about those results. And people, AI is smart. It will reveal a lot of things, but that doesn't mean you figured it all out. That you still, the brain, in order to reorganize your thoughts and your neural networks and your mental space, it's the talking, right? Just like we're doing. And that's how you clarify your thoughts. And it's you talking, right? Not the AI talking. So you got to get people talking about, what did that mean for you? And how do you put that together? So those are, I think, the two main ones. And then, you've got a client session coming up and they've got a problem and you're not quite sure what to do with it about it. And so you can just ask the AI, give me different ways to look at this. And then you think, okay, this could be that here's a few more ways to do that. You can also, if somebody's struggling with a particular habit, you can ask AI, give me 5 different ways to do this, and creative ways, and just send that along. You have to be transparent with people that you're using AI. This is AI, it's not me. This is me, this is not AI. So so just be in a normal relationship with it, use it, and you're teaching people the good side of it, and how to use it. People have a lot to learn in terms of prompting and getting good stuff out of AI. So that it is a real brain that is amazing, and it's amazing as a brain, and so it's really like having 2 brains when you have AI. And as soon as we all get comfortable with that, then we'll thrive with AI.
Questions coming to mind. One more thing around the AI piece is, as we were talking about, it's me talking versus the AI, or if you have a session coming up and you're kind of at a loss for how to approach maybe the area of focus for the client. Sometimes I feel we want to be able to do it on our own. And that's maybe the disconnect with okay, if we use AI, are we copping out on our own skills with our client? Does that make us less of a coach? Does that make us?
No, this is what we all are dealing with that.
Yeah.
All of us, because, and there are studies showing that certain critical thinking skills can decline. You have to be disciplined in that you can't just hand someone what it wrote without thinking it through yourself. I just did a piece of work yesterday, and I had Claude and ChatGPT helped me with this template. And they both did different things, and that helped me. And then I was ready to prepare it, to send it. And then I thought, I've got to go through this table myself. I can't, I read it. It's all fine. The list is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So I created a new table, and I walked through the points and I found things that were missing, and I then owned it. And I could have sent it out and said, AI supported, and it was 80%, 75% there. But by taking it apart again, looking at the two versions and putting it down, then I increased the quality of my work way beyond what I would have done I'm not even sure how I would have done it by myself. So you do things that you often would not know how to do. A week, maybe you might get there. So you're doing stuff you've never done before, like you're pushing yourself. And then it is good to have, now this is not my AI coach. This is like general AI, which does data and, fact checking and research and stuff. But it's the art of putting it together yourself that gets your thinking. So you've got to notice when you're dialing it back, to sit back and not bringing your brain into it. You've got to notice when you're doing that. Then you're copping out, and you see that when people overuse it. You just think, darn, I mean, this is an email written by AI. It doesn't hang together. I don't even know how to respond to it. Like, you just say, come on, like, write your own friggin' emails. Yeah, you got to push your brain. Like, it makes your brain sweat. You have to work. It makes you work harder. You can't be lazy with AI. You have to. I want to add something that I really thought through when I was writing the Science of Leadership science narrative that we've not named in coaching, that I want to, this is a very important point about coaching skills. So when you go to business school, you'll remember this, Brad, you learn strategy, right? Strategy, leaders are leaders because they know where to go and they have a strategy to get there that other people don't, that other people think will work. I mean, that's your job as a leader, to help. And sometimes you co-create the strategy as much as you can, so you're not the only one carrying the torch. But strategy is everything. It's like, we want to get over there, and what is strategy to get there? Coaches are strategists. We help people. We have strategies for how to get them to think about this versus that. We have strategies about how to, go to the next step in the session. We have strategies about how to synthesize it at the end. We have strategies around how to follow. We are strategizing all the time. That is strategic thinking. That's a very, very important thinking skill. The synthesis in the mind. It's the introverted intuitive, the peacemaker, making all the parts, the compassionate, making all the parts weave together into a whole. The narrative, the story, that's all strategy. And that is, that is the heart of what we do, and we never name it. And I think we need to name it. We're strategists for growth. We're not just like, I'm going to ask you questions. Where do the questions come from? You have it's a strategy in the moment. You didn't write it down and practice it and bring it to the session, but you're in the moment as a strategist. And I think if we declare we're strategists in this space, then AI is helping our strategy and helping us be more strategic, then we own the being strategists. So I haven't done anything with that. I haven't written on it, but I've been thinking about that more and more, because I think we still have more to do to elevate the understanding of the sophistication of what we do. And that would be one way to do it.
So, Margaret, where do you think things are going in the next decade in the coaching field? And where do you feel like our role is? Where do we fit in?
Your final question of the day. Let's put you on the hot seat here.
Well, I mean, I'm going to stay in the Dow mode, which is no one can know, and predicting just gets in the way. I think the call is every moment to get more masterful. And maybe we outgrow the term coach. Maybe we're guides. Maybe we're leaders. Maybe I think we should detach our sense of controlling the future and our profession and focus on making it better and seeing where that takes us.
Mm.
And that may take us a different place than trying to predict it and then get there. So this is where, we're emergent, right? One moment at a time. Don't worry about where you're going to be 10 years from now.
Mm.
Make things happen now. Get into the driver's seat. Help other people get in the driver's seat. Make things better now. The future will take care of it if you take care of the now. I mean, we all know this. I'm saying something so obvious, but it really, maybe I'm old enough to know that if you keep worrying about the future, you, as whoever said this, you worry twice. You just, it's not a good use of your time. I mean, it's not. I have a conversation with my AI coach assistant about this issue in sleep because I wake up in the middle of the night, and once I'm awake, I start thinking, and the thinker thinks it's got to think. I mean, it just doesn't realize it needs to rest, not to think. And so my mantra is, you'll think better if you sleep. Don't think about the future. Don't worry about it. Wake up tomorrow with the energy and it'll take care of itself. And even though I know that, I've lived that enough years to know that. So I really encourage people not to worry about the future. Focus on making yourself better now and seeing where that goes. Because our skill set matters. Transformation matters. Wisdom matters. Growth matters.
Right.
It's what we need: more consciousness, more maturity. We need to grow up. We need more depth. We all need. I mean, listen to the cacophony out there. I've never been in a world with so much ego noise. Just unbelievable amount of immaturity, just everywhere. I mean, we were more civilized 40, 50 years ago. We really were. I mean, maybe we were muzzled, but particularly women, I would say. But we just got to get more mature and grown up, all of us, and coaches can lead that way, and we see where it takes us.
Yeah.
And we are role models for how to live life well. That's our job.
So in a true coach approach, what would be one practical piece of advice that you would give a coach for a next step after listening to this podcast?
Wake up.
We'll put an alarm in at the end of the podcast, and we'll use that as our symbol for you, Coach.
Wake up. What's going on?
Right.
Happening.
Yeah.
What do you do next? Consciousness.
Awareness, curiosity, consciousness, maturity, development.
Yeah. So I do want to close with this because in physics, there's a state called quantum criticality, which is the state of transition. It may or may not be quantum. That's, I guess, debatable. But I was talking about the study on insight. So these Spanish researchers put an EEG. I'm going down a rabbit hole, Fred.
Beautiful. Love it.
Spanish researchers put these EEG headsets on 11 clients, and one coach played 3 roles. Played an advisor, giving lots of advice. Played 2 roles: advisor and then a pure MCC ICF coach. So the clients were instructed to bring in 3 novel management problems that they had not solved. So that they have this EEG headset on, monitoring their activity. And every time they have an insight, they push a button to say, insight. So the first challenge was they just sat there and thought about it themselves. They took notes. And the second was the coach playing. So have you tried this and you want to do this, and giving advice. And the third was the emergent discovery. So first, the clients pushed the button for insights more often in the third scenario with the proper coach. But what they saw in the EEG measurements is that 4 seconds before the person pressed the insight button, there was a change in the energy frequency And there was an activation. You probably saw this, Brent. There's an activation of the region, what's considered to be the nonlinear association, the creative region behind the left ear. Right ear. Sorry, right ear. So what that says to biologists is that just before you realize you had the insight, the neural networks connected, which created a calmer energy frequency, and this signal that you just had an insight that networks connected, and so you cannot be present to the potential of that if you're not awake. And that's always there. The physics of transition is always there. So the best thing you can do is just wake up and be there and look for that energy, the physics of transformation. So that's really where I'm coming from. If we're the masters of making those small little, they're not transformational changes, each one. They're only transformational when there's a whole bunch of them together over time that then create oh my goodness, big aha. But that's it. Wake up to see that. If you go back and read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, that's all about being awake. He's fixing his motorcycle. He has no idea how he's going to do it. And he's looking for the potential in the moment for what to do next and what to do next and what to do next. So wake up.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Margaret, for being here and taking the time. And I guess the advice is wake up and continue to take one step at a time forward and buckle up.
Yes, that's great. That's a good one to end with.
Coach, thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this conversation with Margaret Moore, or you might know her as Coach Meg. If there's one takeaway, it's that the future of coaching is full of opportunity for those who are willing to keep learning, adapting, wake up, and stepping into new spaces where their skills can make a difference. If you found this episode valuable, we'd love for you to share it with a fellow coach or leave a review. It helps us continue bringing these conversations to you. And as always, thank you for being part of the Coaching Lab and Catalyst community. We'll see you in the next episode. Or if you want to connect sooner, reach out to us at results@catalystcoachinginstitute.com.